All right, guys, great to have everybody here. We've got a full board, some first timers here. So just to give a little protocol on it, we'll go through. If you've got a question, please mark it on the Zoom. I'll go through and call you. Feel free to ask 2 questions. And then if we have time for some follow-ups, we'll come back through for a second time around. Battlehawks had their first on the field practice today of training camp. My understanding is all 75 players were on the field. So a little more insight on that. We'll turn things over to our head coach, Anthony Becht. Coach, go right ahead.
What's up, guys? Good to see you all. Back at it again, like Brian said, first practice on the field. And, quite frankly, it went pretty well. We actually finished under our allotted time, which is amazing for a first time, for a first practice of the year, and really 47 new guys. So really a tribute to my staff, getting the players ready to go. And then the players obviously out there, very professional, looked real, looked like a real professional team. And we got a lot of tough choices to make, but right now, man, we're just taking it one day at a time. And today's practice was really good.
All right. So again, if you've got questions, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll get you called upon, and we'll begin over at the Post-Dispatch with Mr. Stu Durando. Stu, go right ahead, buddy.
Hang on, I'm still getting situated here. Okay. Hey, Coach. I believe you had talked about earlier about having wanted to upgrade or get bigger on the D line. Can you just go over what? Correct me if I'm wrong, and if not, can you go over kind of where you made changes and what you've added and how you look there right now?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously we just get a little thicker, get a little better, get a little quicker. Can we get a big guy that can move well and also hold the point? That's going to be important in our league. Obviously, the DC Defenders are a very run-heavy team, and we had our ups and downs with them. So you're always thinking about adding those pieces and getting better for your upcoming opponents, and we got to play them twice. So Kevin Atkins is back, Mandy Alonso, TJ Racefa, and Bear Williams. I mean, Kobe Smith, Austin Falui. I mean, these guys are big dudes that can move well. Antoine Jackson. One of the better interior defensive linemen in our league last year, came over from Seattle. It looked good. I mean, again, first day, helmets, shorts, all that stuff, but they look like they picked up things well in the right spots. We'll clean those things up, but for sure, we definitely added those pieces, and hopefully we'll see those things flourish here as we move into training camp.
So was there a matter of adding some depth there, or just mainly getting up what you consider upgrades?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, we lost a guy to the NFL. LaCale London was here last year, is going back with the Falcons, so he's not back. So again, can you replace him with 2 guys maybe to try to work it out where you get a little competition there? And obviously we wanted to bring in some of the better defensive linemen in our league that were available because of the fact that teams weren't really coming back, from the merger and things of that sort. So, we were able to kind of get those guys, and whether it was the draft or free agency, and add those pieces. So again, if you watched our practice today and, you saw 75 guys flying around, you really couldn't tell, there wasn't a lot of bad players out. I mean, it looked really good today. So it's exciting to see them out there, and excited to get this process and continue to evaluate.
All right.
Thank you.
Coach, we're going international. We're going to head down to Mexico, and Oscar, is it Cleriga? Am I saying it correct, Oscar? Are we close on that one?
Hello, Brian. Hello, Coach. Yeah, it's perfect. Cleriga. That's the pronunciation of my last name. Coach, it's a real pleasure can talk with you in this call. In Mexico, American football, like we say, to make the difference between soccer and football, is a great passion. Could you say some words to all the fans here in Mexico follow the XFL last year, now the UFL? And the second question, how was this process in this merge between the XFL and the USFL? Thanks so much, Coach. Gracias. See you soon, my amigo.
Oscar, thanks. Great questions. Number one, awesome to see our outside countries really passionate about football. Number one, obviously NFL gets it started, and then you have our league, the XFL, which gives you that year-round really blend of football. But we have some really talented players, guys that are really exciting. Our team was really exciting last year. You know, Oscar, we have 40,000 fans in our stadium every week in St. Louis. And to watch that on TV, if you're a fan, it's kind of exciting. And really for us to really put a really good product out there to make it feel good. So I think, you know, for the fans in Mexico to understand, like, this is really legit professional football league with really talented players. And if you're going to spread the message to the country, be a Battlehawk fan. That's what we're looking for Mexico. We get everybody out there to rally around us. Your second question, as far as the process of the merger, I think it's great. You know, it's tough to have two spring leagues competing against each other, the media, the fans, the TV rights. Now to have one merged UFL league together with both leagues, the USFL and the XFL, really brings great synergy, brings the most talented players that aren't in the NFL together and now playing in one league. And we talk about, we want to have a product on the field, on TV for the fans that they can really embrace and watch and say, you know what, this looks really good. We feel good about what that product will look like here in a couple of weeks when we kick off our season.
Thanks so much. Gracias.
You got it.
All right. A little closer to home, head down to Mike Reeves. Mr. Reeves, go right ahead, brother.
Hey, Stella, thank you, man. Coach, I was just kind of curious. I know we're a ways away from playing games, but how do you think the product on the field will look much different between XFL, UFL? Will the product be a lot different, or can you even hazard a guess at that right now?
Well, you know, you would assume with 8 teams being removed combined for both leagues, Mike, good question. You know, I really think that the best players are now be kind of hodgepodged into those 8 teams and that make the UFL. So, you know, just speaking for our team, we are a better team. You know, this is going to be a very difficult process for us picking the best 50 players. We really went out and tried to find 75 starters, which would have been a little crazy last year because there was so much talent. You really couldn't tell. But when you have the removal of teams and now you can really add some of those good players from other teams, it really does make it tough. So again, just watching the first practice today, I can tell that these are going to be some really good competitive practices every single day. And yeah, I would expect the product to be a much higher level this year for the season.
All right. Up next, we welcome Chad Winch from Pro Football Newsroom. Chad, go right ahead.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Great, Chad. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, so we got one in the books, and just kind of wondering what the rest of the week's going to look like, even logistically. You have so much to do in so little time. You know, what will the rest of this time and training camp look like for you guys? Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. You're right. Time is limited. You know, we talked about the first day on Saturday. We talked to the players that we had 15 days to figure out what we have, because we have to cut 17 guys on March 10th. So every day that goes by is so critically important. 11 full practices. You know, we have a scrimmage in that time, a couple walkthroughs. So you're talking about 6 really competitive padded practices where we got to really get our eyes on guys. But we really have to evaluate the bigger picture. You know, even with walkthroughs, being attentive to the process, guys that are kind of buying in every single day. I really tell them they're constantly being evaluated at all times. Ultimately, we want to make our decision for what the play is on the field and get the best 50. But you know, this is going to be a challenge. I don't want to put the pressure on the players. I let them know, hey, listen, this is where we're at, but let's really embrace the process. So those 12 days, which we have from now to March 10th, we can really value those days, every single minute, hour, to get the most out of it. So those players make it hard in the evaluation process when we have to make those cuts.
All right. Up next, we head over to the Cedar Rapids Gazette. Steve Hunt. Steve, go right ahead, man. Steve, are you there?
No,
All right, we'll come back to Steve, and we'll move over to the Alternative Football Network. Brian Gertler. Brian, go right ahead.
Hey, Coach. So what are some of the unique challenges you've witnessed with recruiting and retaining talent? Because you have a lot of people that are sort of new to the league, new to the sport, and they're getting really excited to join. And then you have a lot of talent who are sort of on the edge of getting into the next level of football. So what are some of those unique challenges you've witnessed?
Yeah, good question, Brian. I think the recruiting process was really easy. Number one, players I found out want to play for us. Whether that's me, my staff, the crowd, whatever that may be. guys want to play in St. Louis. And I think it really comes down to the scheme and what we do. Defensively, you look at the NFL and the schemes that are run defensively throughout the league. We're doing those things with Donnie Abraham and what he does with his defense. And then offensively, you look at some of the top offenses in the league on the NFL side. You look at the Rams, the 49ers, the Bengals, the Green Bay Packers. Like, those are the systems we're running, but Bruce has made it unique to how he sees it and how he really wants to run it and make it look good. So I think that's what the intriguing piece is. Guys want that, so then when we can sell them outside of them selling themselves on game day, is like, listen, man, these are plug and play. They're going to know your system. It's going to be very clear to them, and they can come out and really give you their best. And when you're talking about guys coming from that, other teams, whether they're free agents or we get them in the draft, guys are really excited about potentially playing for us, and that's great. So there were a couple guys we had to, really sell the fact, but once we got a hold of them, we actually talked to them, it really sounded easy, and they were fired up and ready to go and play, wanting to play for us.
All right, up next, familiar face from Scoops, Andy Carroll. Andy, go right ahead.
Hey, Coach, good to see you again.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Good. Hey, you mentioned, advocating for your guys, and I think one of the tweets that caught my eye this year was when Martavis Bryant got a look from the Cowboys, and you kind of said, hey, NFL guys, take a look at my receiving room and what it did last year. And of course, now you've got a new addition to that group in Jacquard Pearson, and I imagine the chip that's on his shoulder for maybe not getting the look that he probably thinks he deserved too. Talk about that him as the new addition to the group, and maybe what, you see as advocating for those guys.
Yeah, and that wasn't a slight to Martavius. I'm happy for him. I want all the guys to get it, but when you really watch the film and what we did, you're right. I mean, we have 4 receivers get to training camp, which is exceptional, and that was a really good sell to the guys about. It's not about stats. Marcel Aitman, 21 catches, missed 3 games. Last year, Gary Jennings only had 12 catches. Good special team player, made it to a camp, and then you talk about the new paces. Yeah, Jock obviously led the league in catches. Was it the system? Was it, kind of what that blend was, what it looked like? I'm not quite sure, but I know we'll utilize him in a way that, we can help him, really take those next steps. Even Blake Jackson comes over Seattle. He was 3rd in the league in catches. He's a guy we've added on too. So you look at our guys and the amount of skill. It was kind of funny going out there today because clearly they can't all be on the field at the same time. Our second team looked like a starting unit for any team in this league, the way we were rolling them in with the second team today. So, everybody's going to get their reps. We're going to, constantly be shuffling and moving guys in. But again, it's exciting to see all the talent on the field. It just looks cleaner as you get to the second, third rep team, which is, again, it's not where they're at. It's just where they fall in their turn to go. It just looks like the first team's going.
All right, we'll check and see. Steve, are you back and ready to go for writing for Cedar Rapids Gazette?
I am. Hey, Coach, just one quick one. What are your initial impressions of Mike Rose and what he brings to your defense?
Yeah, listen, Mike Rose has played a lot of football. Arguably, when you're one of the best football players, the defensive player of the year in a major FBS conference in the Big 12, that says something. He's a 4-year starter. He deserves to be on an NFL football team. Got nicked up at the end of our season with his foot, wasn't completely healed, went to the Miami Dolphins, had a great mini camp, and just, got nicked up again. Listen, I think he's a stud. I think he's going to have a great year. We got a really good, strong, competitive, smart linebacker room. I mean, everybody that goes in there, man, just so much talent, but he's really worked on his body, man. He looks fast. He just got great instincts, but he also has that talent, that movement that gets him there even faster. So, if you ask me, I just really think that he's going to push it this year to really get in, not just get on a training camp roster, but actually push forward and be there for one of these teams in the NFL.
All right. A reminder, if you've got a question, go ahead and raise that hand. We'll go through a couple follow-up questions now. Back to the Post-Dispatch, Stu Durando.
Yeah, Coach, I'm just wondering, with the season under your belt, for your first day or first week, how far ahead of things are you, say, as opposed to a year ago with so many guys that are in camp that you're familiar with now?
Yeah, well, it's nice for the 29 guys or 28 guys that are returning, Stu. But we have 47 new players, and we got guys at different levels on what they know and where they're at, and that pushes the envelope for those guys to catch up, right? But we'll also have to install at a pace that's everybody can learn at the same capacity. You can't just jump into things and push forward. Guys have to understand. We have to get some of these new players in the mix. They got to understand the calls, the movements, all those different things the coaches are saying. So again, you start from the basics and you move your way through. The tempo of which you move through is a little faster. I would say this. You think about NFL and players that come in on new teams, they got the offseason, OTAs, they got things like leading up to the season. So when they're at training camp, they've already gone through this process already. And we're talking about guys where we're pushing the envelope in real NFL systems on both sides, defense and offensively, that we run that are challenging. It challenges your mentals. It challenges you to really get on it every single night after the meetings and be really attentive to those details. And the guys are again, that's the biggest part and the toughest part. I just think about all the process that I had to go through as a player. I had all this time to figure it out, and even then it was tough. Now you're pushing the envelope with these guys in a shorter window to get them going. It's a challenge. We had a couple Zooms before the season, but hell, I mean, once you're here and you can get in front of it and really hear it, learn it, put it on film, and get better from it, it's a tough call. So it really puts a lot of challenge on these players, but they're smart. We got a lot of smart, high-character players that pick it up quickly.
All right, a couple more minutes with Coach, and let's head down to Alabama. Mark, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about Brandon Silvers, what y'all saw in him to bring him aboard and what you're hoping to get from him this season.
Yeah, Brandon did a good job throwing the ball. It's a new system for him, okay? In these spring leagues, he was kind of in the that air raid system with Houston last year, had a lot of success. There's a little more intricacies on what we're doing here offensively, I think. A little more protections. Quarterback has a lot more responsibilities at the line of scrimmage. And again, it's a learning process. He's ultra smart. He's got AJ to work with and Manny Wilkins as well. So these guys will play off each other. They'll pick it up and learn quickly. I think when you have a strong room competitively, that raises everybody's level on what they want to do, what they want to learn, how they learn it, how quickly they learn it, so that the next day they get a little bit better. So I put Brandon right in that boat. Again, a veteran, 20, 28, 29-year-old, but understands, hey, he's catching up on a lot of these things, but he's picking it up fast. And again, he'll get better and better every day.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, one of our TV friends is having some audio issues, but they were curious if there's any tangible changes that you're making to your approach as a head coach going into your second year.
Yeah, I think, you learn a lot from your first year. You always have this idea of what your culture wants, what you want your culture to be, the tempo, how it looks. And, you start to take those notes and you remember some of the things that looked really good last year and some of the things that, we can clean up. So I just try to stay ahead of that with some of the verbiage I give the team in the team meetings daily in the morning, just alert them to some of the things that are important to the way we play, the way we practice, and the type of style and the things that we do every day. Really took well to it, so far today in the first practice. I thought guys bounced around. They moved well. The tempo was good. Got to clean a lot up. But at the same token, man, guys are flying around, making plays. There was a lot to capture today in the practices, and it's going to be fun to go back and watch it on film today.
All right, let's get one more in here. Pat Ruffino, go right ahead, Pat.
Thanks, Brian. Coach, good to talk to you again. Coach, someone I was really intrigued by during the draft process last year was Johnny Buchanan. Normally, when you have these more muscular guys, mobility is an issue. How has he looked for the first couple of days?
Yeah, today's the first practice. I haven't watched the practice film yet. Obviously, keeping my eyes, doing a little bit more with the tight ends myself. But just kind of, look, he's in shape. He's ready. I've talked to him a few times. He's confident in his ability. Just got to get on, the same page, make sure he learns and picks up the details of our defense. Chris Claiborne, our coach, does a fantastic job at the linebackers, and he's got a very astute, smart, veteran room, and not veteran in age, but just veteran in experience and the abilities that these guys have. So it's highly competitive every single day, more mentally than anything. So I think that'll help him because he'll watch and see how those guys do things on a day-to-day basis. And that's always good for younger players to watch those kind of things. And then ultimately, when he feels like he can play at a faster level because he's starting to pick things up, I think that'll get better and better every single day.
All right, I think we're going to wrap it for today. We'll let you know when the next one comes out. Quick numeric change. Austin is number 99. TJ is 93. So Faleu. I hope I'm saying that right. Work on that. Austin's now number 99. And TJ is switching to 93. So we'll have that updated on the website soon. Anything else, Coach, before we let you go?
No, hey, let's go Battlehawks, man. First one in the books. And we're rocking and rolling, man. It looked good. We'll get better tomorrow. And I look forward to talking to you guys again.
All right. Sounds great. Appreciate everybody dialing in. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.